everybody here? Pretty much. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to our first executive session of the year. We have four bills to discuss this morning. So, if we could, let's start with HB 1300, and it's been recommended for interim study. Representative Lynn, would you like to speak to this, please?
Sure. The recommendation for interim study results from the fact that as the original request in this bill was for a $500,000 appropriation for the ash landfill. The money was intended to make up for make up for a shortfall in what the Department of Environmental Services says is the amount that should be kept as a, for lack of a better term, as a sort of bond in the event that the current operators of the landfill, which is a nonprofit organization, were to kind of go out of business, so to speak, and the state were required to take over the landfill, and you know, to if there was some problem, what is the amount of money that would be needed to correct the problem? The difficulty here is that the need for this arose from the fact that at the time the nonprofit was first established, I think it was in the early 90s, to take care of the landfill. The DES regulations at that time said that there had to be sufficient money in a bond-like structure to take care of the landfill for a 30-year period. And so the operators of the landfill believed that as time went on and that they got closer to the end of that 30-year period, they were entitled to spend some money out of the bond fund, if you will, for the ongoing operating expenses of the landfill. Later, after this, the nonprofit organization was established and had done this, DES changed its regulations. They say it was merely a clarification, but I think to a lot of us on Division 2, it seemed like it was really a change in the regulations that now says the 30-year period is an ongoing, rolling 30-year period. It's sort of, in effect, is perpetual. And in light of that, the landfill was below what it should have had. In discussions, as we proceeded through this, it appears very likely that the state and the operators of the landfill are going to be able to come to an agreement to resolve this matter. And probably, I don't know this for sure, but probably it's going to involve something along the lines of that the state is going to recognize that they kind of changed the regulations and are going to say, look, we're not going to bring an enforcement action against you. I don't know that for sure, but the state and the operators of the landfill apparently feel very confident that they will be able to come to a resolution. There was no sense on Division 2 among anyone that we should appropriate the $500,000, and we thought that the interim study was the best way to deal with it.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions?
Yeah, I'll second that motion.
Okay, thank you. Joe, Representative Petrie, would you please call the roll?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Representative Weiler?
Yes.
Representative LaBerge?
Yes.
Representative Petrie votes yes. Representative Emmerich?
Yes.
Representative Urf?
Yes.
Representative Griffin?
Yes.
Representative Edwards?
Yes.
Representative Bean is not here. Representative Lynn?
Yes.
Representative Mooney?
Yes.
Representative Turcott,
Yes.
Representative Wallner,
Yes.
Representative Norgren.
No, that's Pat Long, Representative Long.
I'm sorry.
Rep-
Long,
Yeah.
Representative Bucco. Yes. Representative Leishman. Okay. Representative Hatch,
Yes.
Representative Rogers. Representative Walsh. Represent,
That's Shirtliff, excuse me.
Thank you very much. Representative Heath,
Yes.
Representative Murray. Madam Chair, the vote is 18 to nothing.
You should call on her too.
Yeah, don't forget me.
19.
Why should I forget you?
I don't know.
19, I'm sorry. Representative Umberger, just for the record.
Thank you. I'm sorry, I did not mention to start off that Representative Long is sitting in for Representative Nordgren, and Representative Shirtliff is sitting in for Representative Walz. Welcome to Finance. I know Representative Long has been sitting with us for several sessions, and we thank him for that. Okay.
Which calendar? Consent?
Oh, yes. Is there anyone that objects to consent? Okay, seeing none, we'll press on. HB 1054, requiring an audit of the state police. Where, Representative Mooney,
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to make a motion of ITL on House Bill 1054, and I'd like to speak to my motion.
please.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair. A few points on this bill. You may recall the sponsor spoke very briefly, and he asked us to ITL the bill. Upon further research, it appears, as I know most of you are familiar, but the Legislative Performance Audit and Oversight Committee typically requests audits. They did not do so in this case for state police. And then thirdly, it appears that the Office of the Legislative Budget Assistant completed a financial audit of the state police for the period ending on March 31, 2019. So to spend state resources on an audit that was performed so recently is unnecessary. So for that reason, I would encourage all of you to vote on ITL. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions that anyone has?
Just
Representative
one,
Hatch?
just a point. I think, wasn't the bill asking for a performance audit, not a financial audit? And they're bifurcated. They're two entirely different things. That's just a point.
Representative Mooney?
Oh, thank you, Representative, for the question. On good point, and on line 4 of the bill, it reads, "The audit shall include an assessment of the proficiency, structure, financial dealings, and services provided by the organization." So, yes, and all that's included. Thank you.
Okay. Are there any further questions? Seeing none, will the clerk call the roll?
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is House Bill 1054. The motion is to ITL. Representative Weiler,
Aye.
Representative Thavarish,
Yes.
Representative Petrie votes yes. Representative Emmerich,
Yes.
Representative Erf,
Yes.
Representative Griffin, Representative Edwards,
Yes.
Representative Bean's not here, Representative Lynn,
Yes.
Representative Mooney,
Yes.
Representative Turcott,
Yes.
Representative Wallner.
Yes.
Four. Okay. Okay. Norgren is Long. Representative Long. Yes. Representative Bucco.
Yes.
Representative Leishman's not here. Representative Hatch.
Yes.
Representative Rogers. Representative Shirtliff. Representative Heath.
Yes.
Representative Murray. Representative Von Berger.
Yes.
Madam Chair, the vote is 19 to nothing for ITL.
Does anyone have a problem if we put this on the consent calendar? So be it. Okay, we now move to HB 103.
Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion that we pass HB 103 OTPA with Amendment 0904 Hotel as the amended version.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Would you like to speak to your motion?
Yes, ma'am. Okay, so the legislature has a history with wanting or attempting to add an adult dental benefit to Medicaid. And sort of the classic arguments have been that this good dental care is good health care, and we should go ahead and make sure that our citizens have good health care. The other view has been that we should not be in a position to continually expand Medicaid due to the cost of the taxpayers and some questions about the efficiency of the program. So those are the two classic cases. What we've tried to do with 103 and Division 3 is, and with me personally, is I've worked with HHS's working group for many, many months. And we have come to an accommodation between these two yes or no positions where we're trying to say yes in a way in which it recognizes some core principles. We are acknowledging that individuals are the ones who are primarily responsible for their own oral health. Without the individual involvement, it doesn't matter what somebody tries to do for you, you're just not going to have good dental care. So we've established in it to reflect the individual responsibility a copay so that only those making at least 100% of the federal poverty level would contribute 10% towards their pay. This is a fairness issue because pretty much everyone who has dental insurance in the state has to pay something for it. And so this is our saying we're not giving this category of people a free benefit. They have to buy in just like everyone else has to buy in. The other thing is on the dentures, we limited it to those who seem to be in a situation to be responsible for the care of the dentures. So those in long-term nursing facilities and in choices for independence, they would be eligible. And also the developmentally disabled community would be eligible. So that carve-out does leave out a pretty significant number of people. But I've gotten assurances from one of the MCOs that they will seriously look at providing the denture care to those who are not eligible on a charitable basis because that's part of their mission, and they've been doing that for adults for years now. We put a cap on it for $1,500, and we found a source of the initial funding from the Centene Settlement Fund. That was reflected in the Senate version of this, and so we borrowed what they did. And so we're proposing to take $18.4 million of the Centene Settlement Fund. The Senate version also wanted to fund $2.4 million of that settlement fund for something called a risk corridor. We had no hearings on the risk corridor, so we just carved it out in the amendment. So I would ask that you vote for this amended version. I know several people will not because of the concern about expansion of the Medicaid program. I respect that position, but nevertheless, I think this is a good way to proceed that accommodates historic interests on both sides of the bill. So, thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Are there any questions for Representative Edwards? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Representative Weiler.
Yes.
Representative Burge.
Yes.
Representative Petrie votes no. Representative Emmerich.
Yes.
Representative Erf.
Yes.
Representative Griffin. Representative Edwards.
Yes.
Representative Lynn.
No.
Representative Mooney.
No.
Representative Turcott.
No.
Representative Wallner.
Yes.
Representative Long. Representative Bucco.
Yes.
Representative Hatch.
Yes.
Representative Rogers. Representative Shurtleff. Representative Heath.
Yes.
Representative Murray. Representative Umberger.
Yes.
Madam Chair, the vote is 14 to 5 in favor of to pass as amended.
Thank you very much.
So, Madam Chair, I just add that I've sent you a committee report on this that should be able to be used.
I saw it. Okay. Yeah. Will there be a minority report?
Yes, there will be.
Okay, and you will prepare that?
We'll talk amongst ourselves and figure it out. Get that back to you on
Oh.
who exactly will do that.
Okay,
If nobody else volunteers, I will do that.
all right, because we'll need it tomorrow morning at the latest. Okay. Okay, oh, should I put this on the consent calendar?
I hope not, I didn't mark it down.
Oh. This will, yeah, I agree. This will go on the regular calendar. Unfortunately, there's some kind of rule out there that says anytime you're spending money that it needs to go on the regular calendar. So what can I say? Okay. The next one is HB 1677 as amended. It's OTPA with 0956H.
So, Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion that we accept this amendment 0956H and pass the bill out of committee OTPA.
Do I have a second? Griffin? Thank you.
Who was that?
Griffin. No, Edwards and Griffin.
Thank you.
If you don't mind, I would like to speak to this just briefly. I have no idea how many hours we have spent working through this bill. And it's not only been in work sessions, but also outside of work sessions. The goal of 1677 as amended is to provide an alternative way to settle cases that we anticipate will be brought against the Youth Development Center. And when we say Youth Development Center, it's the whole gamut. I don't care what you call it, whether it's, Sununu or the YDC or, I don't know, there were several others in there, but this spans the entire gamut of youth incarceration. The process that we have established with this amendment is that anyone, a claimant, can bring a claim to the AG's designee, who will determine what sort of settlement there will be. We have capped sexual abuse at 1.5 million, and we have capped physical abuse at 150,000. If the claimant accepts the AG designee's position, we're very happy about that. If the claimant does not accept the AG designee's position, they have an opportunity to withdraw and go to court. Or they have the opportunity to go to what we are calling an administrator that will be working for the Supreme Court. And then that person will decide what the final award will be. So then, prior to all of this starting, the AG and the claimants' counsel, as we know them to be now, will set up guidelines for the award, and Mary Jane insisted, Representative Wallner insisted that that come to the fiscal committee for approval. So, is that correct? Anyhow, so it will be coming back to the fiscal committee for approval. And we felt that because this is dealing with money and awards and how this whole system is going to work, that we felt that this was an appropriate place because it involves both the House and the Senate. Finally, I'll just say that if we did basically set aside $100 million for these settlements, and hopefully we can, it'll be the $100 million will cover it. If it doesn't, sometime in the future, the AG has the option of coming back to the legislature for additional funds. But we are hoping, against hope, that the $100 million will cover the cost of these claimants that are out there. So that's where we stand, and I would simply ask that you please vote yes. Are there any questions or comments? Yes, Representative Rogers.
First of all, I want to commend the folks, all of us worked on this, and it's a much better bill with the amendment than it was when it came in. And by and large, it's a great bill. However, there are 2 points that I think we need to consider, and the reason I can't support it at this time. One, capping the settlements at the amounts that Representative Umberger talked about, I don't think is fair. We've had a number of cases that have come out of the federal court that have had much larger awards. So the claimants, if we want them to come to this instead of going to court, civil court on their own, I think we need to be realistic. So I think we need to raise that cap from the 1.5 and the 150,000. The second point is the scope of the abuse. We've limited the scope of the abuse. I think we need to broaden it remember, we're talking about over or close to 50 years of abuse that's happened while the state had custody of these children. I know that they're not all children now, but still, we had a duty to care for these people, and we failed in that duty. And I think by not including all abuse, that we're not being fair. We're saying one victim is better than the other. I would hope that we could include things such as emotional abuse and especially unlawful confinement. We know that there are plaintiffs that were put into solitary confinement for up to 6 months' time. And we've got a lot of literature, a lot of studies that have shown that solitary confinement is terribly, terribly harmful to a child. And it's almost like these were the forgotten children. We put them in here, we abused them, we threw them into solitary confinement, we did other things. I think if we're going to own up, which we are, and that's why this is such a great bill happening now, and I especially commend the sponsors like Representative Umberger for doing this, but we need to include everyone. We can't be selective. So for those 2 points, I know we made great progress, and as I said, I think this is a good bill, but it could be better. So that's why I can't support it at this time.
Thank you. Are there any other comments or questions? Representative Wallner?
Thank you, Chairman Umberger. I do agree with Representative Rogers that there are a couple of outstanding issues that we did not resolve as we worked on this amendment. I am going to support the bill because I feel like it is the state's responsibility to set up this settlement fund. And I think that what we've got here is something that will be very helpful to the claimants and to the victims and provide a process that will be much friendlier than if people have to end up going to court. So for those reasons, I'm going to support the bill. I am still concerned about the 2 areas that we didn't seem to get a resolution for. But as we know, in legislation, things leave the House and go over to the Senate, and then they get to put their mark on it. So we'll see what happens over there. So for those reasons, I am going to support the bill.
Okay, thank you. Are there any other comments? Seeing none, will the clerk call the roll?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Representative Weiler.
Yes.
Representative Thaburge.
Yes.
Representative Petrie votes yes. Representative Emmerich.
Yes.
Representative Uriff.
Yes.
Representative Griffin. Representative Edwards.
Yes.
Representative Lynn.
Yes.
Representative Mooney.
Yes.
Representative Turcott.
Yes.
Representative Wallner.
Yes.
Representative Long. Representative Bucco.
Yes.
Representative Hatch.
Yes.
Representative Rogers. Representative Shurtleff. Representative Heath.
Yes.
Representative Murray. Oh, I'm sorry. Aha, snuck in. Representative Leishman.
Yes.
And Representative Umberger.
Yes.
19 to 1.
Correct. The vote is 19 to 1.
The vote
in the
is-
affirmative.
The vote is 19 to 1, and I thought this could go on the consent calendar as well, but. Will there be a,
Sure, with money in it?
yeah,
Put it in regular?
yeah, regular calendar? Okay, and there will be a minority report
I didn't hear it.
on HB 1677. Representative Rogers. Okay, Representative Rogers, your minority report is due tomorrow. Okay, great.
ITL? What will it be?
And what would that be? ITL? Okay, so does that mean you're going to have a floor amendment? Okay, all right. Okay, we have a 1 o'clock hearing on a non-germane amendment. So, is there anything else to be brought before this group? Boy, that was the fastest executive session on record for finance, so I guess, I guess we should keep it up. I'm sorry, I probably should have scheduled the non-germane bill a little bit earlier, but I had no idea. So thank you all very much, and I'll see you at 1 o'clock.
Labor Day. Yeah. Well, not every year is gonna be Labor Day week.
I didn't know they could do that.
But they changed it.
Okay, I will call the Finance Committee to order. And the purpose of this public hearing is to discuss a non-germane amendment. And unfortunately, my name is at the top. I thought maybe we could put Representative Heath's name there or somebody, but it's so if you will excuse me, I will go to the other table and let you know what this amendment's all about.
Okay. We'll call a meeting to order to open the discussion on the amendment to HB 1627 FNA. We're having a separate hearing because it is non-germane to the underlying bill. And we'll call on the sponsor, Representative Umberger, and ask her to be sure and fill out a pink sheet.
Oh, shoot. Yes, there is one over there. I apologize. I forgot all
I
about
don't
that.
see any other pink sheets.
Okay. Well, Mark is going to come up and talk as well. So, Division 2 and the Education Committee have been involved in an interim study on various issues with school funding. And as we have been discussing that, it came up that it would be wonderful if we had a way to combine the information from Medicaid into the free and reduced lunch program. And we worked with HHS and DOE to see how that could occur. Well, it appears that the Department of Agriculture has a pilot program going on that allows the states to apply to become part of the pilot program, so that the information that is in Medicaid and the information from the school will now meet, and it will reduce significantly the number of people that need to fill out the free and reduced lunch form. There will still be a few people that need to fill out the form because although they have health insurance, their income is low enough that they qualify for the free and reduced lunch program. So that's what this non-germane amendment is all about, is asking DOE to go forward, apply for this pilot program, and hopefully it will occur, and that we'll be able to start this program in the next year or so. And we're hoping that it will be effective so that in the 2024 budget cycle and what the schools will be receiving in 2024 will use this particular program. So thank you. Are there happy to answer any questions?
Representative Edwards for a question.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you for taking my questions. I'm so sorry. This is the first time I've looked at this bill at all, and so I'm just trying to wrap my head around the construct of this. From a parent's or a student's perspective, I'd like to understand what their benefit is if we do have them in a demonstration pilot. It doesn't feel to me like it gives that school any more money. It doesn't feel like it gives that school like a breakfast meal in addition to what they're doing. It just seems to me from what you said that the only benefit is reduced paperwork to the family.
Okay, thank you for the question. We don't know at this point what that effect might be on the financial side of it, because we don't know how many people that are eligible for free and reduced lunch have not applied. And so that's one of the things that we're trying to do, is to maximize the number of people that apply for free and reduced lunch, because it also affects our Title I programs and how much money goes to the various districts based on Title I. As far as the individual parents go, it's simply one thing that they don't have to worry about. And it will take a lot of work off from the schools, because they're no longer going to have to go out chasing parents to fill out the free and reduced lunch form.
Follow-up?
Okay, so it sounds like the two key benefits are simpler administration for the school, and anytime you have less paperwork, the better, is a rule of thumb. And then the second thing is that there may be a monetary gain under this theory, that some people who could be eligible for the program just simply aren't doing the paperwork, and therefore the school's missing out on that money. This is going to throw a wider net and just grab a group of people, so the total number per school might end up going up because they're just being brought in by default.
That's correct.
All right, thank you so much.
Thank you. Representative Heath for a question.
Thank you. I just would like to add that in addition to those certain aspects, that this will mean that more children will have access to breakfast and lunch programs than we've seen before. Because often, for whatever reason, a form doesn't get filled out, so we don't know that that child may be eligible, and they may end up going a day without any kind of food during the day. So I think that's a big plus, in addition to the increase in numbers. And I think we heard how many students this could possibly impact. Was it as high as 18,000, Mark?
Don't know.
All right.
Yeah.
But it was quite a number.
The other thing is that in school funding right now, we have we're using the 2019 numbers for free and reduced lunch at the public schools, and that's the number we've budgeted for 22 and 23. And so we need to find some way to sort out how many children we actually have in the public schools and free and reduced lunch. Because we do know that several students have chosen other options for their K through 12 education. And how many of those are in that category, we don't have any idea. We also know that overall enrollment has gone down. So we just don't know.
Representative Lynn for a question, and then Representative Petrie.
Yes, could you just refresh my memory on this? I know I've heard about this before, but if somebody qualifies for Medicaid, does that automatically mean then that they would be eligible for the free and reduced lunch program?
Yes.
Right. May I ask one follow-up?
Further follow-up.
This is just on a completely different topic relating to this. Is there any issue, any concern that by doing this, somehow the privacy interests of people who are receiving Medicaid will somehow, there'll be some disclosure that wouldn't otherwise occur that we should be concerned about?
I believe the answer to that is no, primarily because it's a pilot program that is operating in several states at this point, and I'm sure that all of those privacy considerations have been worked out, because that was one of the issues that we had in trying to do it just at the state level, because there was concern from DHHS. I don't want to put words in your mouth, Joe. The concern at the state level was in the Medicaid side, they used names and social security numbers, I believe. And in the education side, they only use student numbers, student identifiers. So obviously, somehow or other, at the federal level, it's been worked out.
Representative Petrie for a question.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you for taking my question. Is this a precursor to eliminating the forms altogether? I know we've talked about making, in other words, funding the entire school lunch for everyone, and then doing away with the forms as part of adequacy.
No. This will do away with probably 98% of the forms that had been filled out before. It'll just be the small minority of people that qualify but have their own medical insurance.
Thank you.
Representative Edwards for a question.
Just curious about the effect on students outside of the traditional neighborhood schools, those that have used EFAs, for example, to go to private schools or to homeschool. Do we think any money will follow them, or is this all meant to be within the four corners of the traditional schools?
EFA, yes? Okay. The answer is yes. The children with EFAs would benefit as well. I didn't know that. Thank you, Mark.
Anything further? So the Department of Agriculture, is this because of food stamps? Is there a connection in here with that?
It's because they're the ones that provide the food for the schools.
Right.
And so right now, the Department of Agriculture, everybody gets to eat. They have funded 100% no matter what your income level is or so on. And
so they're able to access the HHS lists through which we can never seem to be able to do in the Department of Ed. But through them, this'll happen. Okay, now I understand it better. Further questions? Okay. Thank you, Representative Umberger. Is there someone else that would like to testify? And we'll get them to fill out a pink card, too.
Good evening, Mark Manganellos, Administrator, Office of School Finance with the Department of Education. Chairwoman Umberger did an excellent job describing what she was working on back in the fall through the winter as far as the work session between finance and education, house finance and house education. Some of the key issues she touched on is the FNR data has been a long-standing challenge for families and districts, and recently the pandemic, because the USDA offered a universal waiver, meaning you do not need to fill out the application to get the benefit of school lunch. That has significantly impacted our FNR data. So one of the main charges of that work group was, how do we make the adequacy formula, instead of modifying the FNR data every year, how can we stabilize the FNR data? And this is a solution that Chairwoman Umberger sort of identified as a fix to that problem. And so if there's any, I know we'll be doing some more detailed work in Division 2, but if there's any questions, I'm available to answer them.
Any questions from the committee? How do we prevent an overcount?
So I don't think we can, because what's
We're talking money now.
The challenge with an overcount is essentially the way we currently operate is we try our best to identify every student who is experiencing poverty inside a school. We try our best, and we ask families to try their best to identify themselves as experiencing poverty inside a school. if we happen to find more students experiencing poverty than we previously known about, the way this would have to work is we have to count them towards adequacy. Because we are now being made aware that there is a child experiencing poverty in a district's responsibility, and the way the formula works and the way kind of the constitutional construct of the formula works is we have to fund that. I'm getting a little bit into the weeds there, but I would say it would be hard to stop an overcount.
Yes, it would. If we take away the responsibility from the parents, who otherwise might have filled out the paperwork and are irresponsible, then all of a sudden you're going to have everybody qualified, and our costs for education are going to go sky high.
So these particular families would be not filling out the FNR application, but they would be filling out a Medicaid application. So I don't know if it correlates. If you're not filling out an FNR application, but you are filling out a Medicaid application, it's hard to know.
Irresponsibility persists. They won't fill out one form, they won't fill out the other.
Potentially.
We'll see how it all works out. I guess we're going to do this for a year and see what happens. Any other questions from the committee? Seeing none, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Anybody else that'd like to testify? Please come forward, identify yourself, and after you complete testifying, would you please fill out a pink card?
Hi,
Please
I'm
introduce yourself. Thank you.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Mackenzie Snow, Division Director of Learner Support at the Department of Education.
And I'm Kelly Rambo, the Administrator for the Office of Nutrition Programs and Services.
Thank you for coming to Finance to enlighten us.
You're welcome. So I just wanted to touch upon the application process for this program. It is a pilot program, like the two previous speakers had said before. And we at the DOE just wanted to say that we estimate the initial application taking a senior individual such as myself up to about possibly 5 weeks to complete this, depending on the detail that is needed for the actual application. And the application needs to be submitted before September 20th of this year, 2022. And there could be an additional 10 to 20 hours given once we submit the application. If there's additional questions back from the USDA, they don't, maybe possibly have a question on a procedure that we have or something along those lines. So there's the possibility of an additional 10 to 20 hours. Thus, we are requesting that $44,000 in the CL 120 to enter into a contract with an entity or an individual to help us with the application process due to the timing of the process and the detail that is needed for that.
Thank you. Do your companion have anything further to add?
No, we're happy to respond to questions. Thank you.
The one that occurs immediately is the criteria for free and reduced meals and the criteria for Medicaid. How much difference is there?
So this program uses the free and reduced, it uses the same income limits for free and reduced as for that would qualify for Medicaid for this particular program.
So they're exactly equal.
That's correct.
Good. Representative Lynn for a question.
Yes, can I just ask with regard to the request for funding to hire, the 44,000 that you've asked for? I guess I'm not, it's not clear to me if it sounds like from what you're saying that this is sort of a very detailed, you said it will take 5 weeks to, I guess can you elaborate on it a little more? In other words, I thought that the idea, just from looking at this, that what you would be requesting would be access to information from Medicaid, I guess through the Department of Agriculture, on the people in a school district that are, the families qualify or are on Medicaid. So I guess I'm having trouble understanding why is that going to take so long?
Sure, thank you for your question. So in an ideal world that we would just be able to request that information from DHHS, but we know that USDA requires additional documentation that we need to be able, in order to be able to run this program, we need to submit a complete application to them. And also where this is a pilot program for the USDA, they are looking to compile all of the states that run this program as a pilot to see if it's going to be an effective program to run fully moving forward.
So just to add upon that, it is an extensive application process. We have had preliminary meetings with USDA as well as other states who have considered and pursued this application process. And given the limited capacity of the Office of Nutrition at this time, we have 3 staff and 1 administrator. Historic levels of staffing have been 7 staff and an administrator. So we are concerned about the ability to complete that application and respond to inquiries and research a new process, given the capacity, and thus would seek to enter into a contract with an entity or an individual with such expertise.
Thank you.
Representative Heath for a question.
Thank you. Is it possible to use ESSER funding for this purpose?
So ESSER funds at the state level must be, and all ESSER funds, in fact, must be utilized to prevent, prepare for, and respond to the COVID-19 pandemic. So there is potential that there could be a rationale there that the free and reduced price lunch applications and paperwork submissions have been impacted by the pandemic, but we would need to check. That would be a unique use that is not neatly in prevent, prepare for, and respond to the pandemic.
All right, thank you.
Further questions from the committee? So if someone has 4 children, 2 of them are preschool, is that reflected when they fill out the Medicaid application, or is it just, I have 4 children?
That's something that we would need to look into based off of the data that DHHS gives to us. I would have to look at what data is submitted and what grade levels are submitted to the DOE for that.
I wonder if Medicaid asks for that detail, the
That's
ages of the children.
That's something that I currently don't know the answer to.
Because, again, we might have an overcount. 2 or 3 preschool children that somehow are listed somewhere as free and reduced, and they're not even in school.
I can find that information out for you.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Okay.
And then just one last point, if you'll allow me. It might be helpful for Kelly to explain the waivers and the factors that are impacting the reduction in applications very briefly.
So as Mark touched upon before, we are currently in a waiver program that expires on June 30th, and that enables all students to get free breakfast and free lunch in school. I know that we have not received any current information from USDA that those waivers will be extended. So as it stands right now, we anticipate those waivers to expire on June 30th, and we will be going back to free, reduced, paid processes in the schools.
Thank you. Representative Petrie for a question.
Thank you. Have you enumerated the cost of what it's cost whoever for this, this waiver? Not the waiver itself, but the meals that we've accumulated?
No, we have not projected the impact of what utilizing Medicaid data instead of free and reduced price lunch applications, how that would impact potential meals served, not currently served.
Right. Now, if I could follow up. Now, is that, I'm talking about free and reduced in total, not necessarily just the Medicaid, because that's, how obviously there must be some calculation that we've used as far as free, reduced, and Medicaid combined. In other words, whoever got free lunch because of the waiver. In other words, is it $59 million or is it $20 million? I mean, where are we at?
We don't currently have that data information, but we can get that for you.
Representative Wallner for a question.
I was wondering, will this in any way affect the child care food program?
No, this is strictly for National School Lunch Program.
Thank you.
Seeing no other questions, thank you very much. Please fill out one of these for each of you. And we will call upon Director Lipman from HHS. And he's got someone else with him. Oh, maybe two others. Yep, as long as we get all the names sometime written down. Is that on? There we
So I'll
go.
do it again, sorry. I should know by now, right? Henry Lippman, Medicaid Director.
Don Landry, Medicaid Policy Administrator.
Thank you for coming.
Medicaid's role in this is that we were trying to be helpful to the committee. We are aware of the program, and I think why Chairwoman Umberger was looking at this is because, I guess, in terms of your formula for school funding, you want to use data that's, somewhat more in line with the year that you're running the formula. And, Medicaid potentially could be a support to that. In terms of some of the questions I heard previously asked by committee members, we could maybe fill in a few blanks there.
Good.
I think you asked one about do we get the age of the child on the application? We do. And Representative Lynn asked a question about the information that's provided. It's the minimum necessary in order to provide to the Department of Education for them to be able to administer the program. I think from a, just purely from a fiscal standpoint, in terms of your formula, I think there'd be a benefit from a Medicaid perspective. We would look at the reason why we'd want to be helpful here is that children who qualify for the program, who also get nutrition, will probably be healthier and consume less medical care. I don't have any data to necessarily back that up, but that would be the theory behind, Medicaid putting effort to support this with the Department of Education.
Appreciate that. Anything to add?
No, nothing to add. Thank you.
All right. Any questions from the committee? Seeing none. Thank you very much.
Thank you, and let
May
us
have
know
to
if we
get-
could be of more help later
Yeah,
on.
if we have more questions, we know where you are.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Anybody else that wishes to testify on the amendment to House Bill 1627 FNA? It is a non-germane amendment, which is why we are holding this hearing. If I don't see any other, I will any other questions or any other people that wish to comment, then I will close the hearing. Are we finished? Hearing is closed. Thank you all for coming and enlightening us. And those who haven't filled out a pink card yet, please do so. Oh, I think this is, and Chairman Umberger, here she is. Are we assigning this to any division? Division 2 is going to get it, and you're going to have a hearing on it as well?
Work session, yeah.
Work session, okay. All right.
Anybody have anything else that they'd like to say? Oh, thank you. I'm staying overnight. In that case, thank you all. Meeting's adjourned. By the way,
See if we can pick up the pink card.
yeah, Mickey's got 'em. This bullshit about $44,000. They can.
This is so they can gin some administrative stuff up. They don't have enough people.
They've got enough. They got more money than they know what to do with.
I know.
So they're not getting a penny.
I thought there were two P's in his name. I guess I was.